Hate is a strong word. Why do you genuinely hate your parents? I was the kid who won every science fair. First place 3 years in a row. My projects were always the most detailed, the most impressive. Everyone thought I was some kind of genius. Teachers would use me as an example. Why can't you be more like Ethan? They'd tell other students. My parents were so proud. They'd brag to everyone at church, post my awards all over Facebook, tell relatives I was going to be a doctor someday. But here's what nobody knew. I didn't do any of it. My dad did everything. Every single project from 6th grade through 8th grade. He'd lock himself in the garage for weeks building these elaborate displays. I'd come home from school and he'd quiz me. What's this part called? What does it do? Memorize this explanation. I felt like I was studying for a performance instead of learning science. My mom would make me practice my presentation over and over until it sounded natural. Don't say so much. Stand up straighter, make eye contact. The first time we won, I was 11. I stood on that stage holding a trophy for a project about solar energy that I barely understood. My dad had built this working model with actual panels and batteries. The judges kept asking me technical questions. I repeated exactly what my dad told me to say, word for word, like a trained parrot. When they announced I won first place, my dad literally jumped out of his seat cheering. That night he took the whole family to this expensive steakhouse. My son, the scientist, he kept saying to the waitress, the manager, anyone who would listen. I remember feeling weird about it, like I was lying to everyone, but my parents seemed so happy that I just went along with it. 7th grade was worse. Dad built this insane model of the human heart that actually pumped fake blood through clear tubes. It took him 2 months. I barely touched it. He wouldn't even let me near his workspace. You'll mess something up, he'd say. Just focus on memorizing your speech. We won again. Bigger trophy, more Facebook posts, more bragging at church. By 8th grade, I started to hate science fair season. I'd watch my dad obsess over his projects while I sat there feeling like a fraud. That year, he built a working robot arm controlled by a computer program he coded himself. It could pick up objects and sort them by color. When I won first place again, the local newspaper wanted to interview me. They took pictures of me standing next to my robot. The article called me a young genius with a bright future in engineering. My guidance counselor used that article to get me into this competitive high school program for gifted students. Full scholarship, all based on work I didn't actually do. That's when things fell apart. The program was intense. Real science, real projects, no dad to hide behind. I failed my first assignment, then my second, then my third. My teacher pulled me aside after class. Ethan, I don't understand. Your science fair projects were incredible, but you can't seem to grasp basic concepts. I tried explaining that I needed more help, that maybe I wasn't as advanced as everyone thought. She looked at me suspiciously. Who really built those projects? I couldn't lie anymore. I told her everything. How my dad did all the work, how I just memorized speeches, how I'd been faking it for 3 years. The school called my parents in for a meeting. I thought they'd finally admit what they did, maybe apologize for putting so much pressure on me. Instead, my dad denied everything, said I was making excuses because the work was too hard, that I built those projects myself and now I was trying to blame him for my failures. My mom backed him up completely, told the school I was just struggling with the transition and looking for someone to blame. They showed the school all those Facebook posts, all those photos of me with the trophies, all that proof that I was this amazing student. The school believed them. They put me on academic probation instead. That night at dinner, my dad looked at me across the table. You better not ruin this for yourself. Do you know how much money we spent on those projects? How much time I invested? That's when I realized he didn't do it for me. He did it for himself, so he could be the dad with the genius kid. I'm 32 now, haven't spoken to them in 8 years. They still tell people I'm a disappointment, that I threw away all my potential. They never once admitted they built everything, never apologized for making me live a lie, and that's why I genuinely hate them.